You name it, we pretty much grow it here.
When she can't find the essentials in the grocery store.
We can just shop the pantry.
And better yet,
it's not full of preservatives. It goes straight from the garden to my house into the jars. There's no middleman involved.
And then there's the taste.
There's no comparison.
Deb Harder cans, freezes, or dehydrates just about everything she picks.
It'll last for years. I've got tomatoes that we're still eating that I canned in 2017.
Growing up on a farm, gardening wasn't a huge stretch for Harder, but it's helped stretch her bottom dollar quite a bit during the last year. Take these tomatoes you can get for about $3 at your local grocery store. That'll last you about a week or two. Or you could plant one and feed your family for the entire year at the same price. Ask the trauma surgeons.
Yeah, the volume is heartbreaking. There's no doubt about it.
The rehab doctors.
We have people who actually won't be able to walk again.
And the victims.
It can happen to anyone.
They'll tell you a story you don't often hear on the news. Louisville's homicide rate hit 100 before we even hit July of this year. It's a fraction of the shootings that have injured hundreds of others.
It's young, predominantly men.
U of L trauma surgeon Dr. Keith Miller sees a lot of them.
1 in 5 of the patients that are shot will die as a result of their injuries. So that leaves 4 out of 5 that are going to potentially live with the consequences of that injury.
On the average, about 20% are shot in the head and neck region.
And those can result in significant injuries. Brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, paraplegia, quadriplegia. So when you categorize that as a non-life-threatening injury, that is a threat to their life every day for the rest of their life.
When I was asked, why did I get into it? Well, everybody, why do you want to be a fireman? Well, you want to help people on their worst day. The scenes that we see and the things that go through our mind, it's not normal for us to see that. You do it because you see something bigger than yourself.
And for me, it's, ones that really get me are anything that involves kids.
Probably car wrecks are a lot of times most, I guess, gruesome or vivid.
I mean, if you don't talk about it, that's how it builds up. You see it in the military, you see it in police, fire, EMS.
Having been in the military myself, I've seen it firsthand of some of the effects of PTSD.
Trainings like today make it okay to be able to talk about it.
Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder.
In a room filled with first responders, all eyes are on Jo Terry.
I am not a clinician. I am a widow.
Her husband, Chip Terry, was a career firefighter for almost 3 decades, and like so many first responders, struggled in silence with the trauma he'd witnessed.
You know, this is such a crushing mental health problem that they feel so hopeless.
He retired in 2012. His speech filled with the nightmares of the job.
What people don't see at 3 o'clock in the morning is when a young lieutenant has to put 2 toddlers and their grandmother in a body bag. A 16-year-old boy hangs himself with an electrical cord. How do you close your eyes at night after you do that? You make that run.
Louisville's bridges, a symbol of connection, progress, and individuality in our downtown cityscape. But they also hold a darker symbolism.
Suicide is the number 3 cause of death nationwide in people from 10 to 35.
The increase in the past 5 years has refocused attention to people who attempt suicide, but people jumping to end their lives is nothing new. The Jackson family lost their son, Chancey, 21 years ago. At the University of Louisville's emergency department, Chelsea Hoops, clinical nurse manager of emergency psychiatric services, gets the opportunity to help those who attempt suicide and survive.
They had this idea of something and it didn't work out like they thought it would. And then some people are angry as well, so it's really just kind of getting with that patient on the one-on-one level where they're at.
In many cases, Dr. Taylor at Peace Hospital says his patients are relieved to have someone else bring it up to them.
If somebody's thinking about suicide and talks about it, they're much less likely to do it. It's the ones who don't talk about it are the ones that we're gonna see in the paper instead of in the hospital.
Talking about suicide with your children, with your friends, or with your partner is a tough task. But with resources available to you online, in your community, you could be the person who saves someone's life.
On the court, these players are working hard on shooting, passing,
and setting up blocks.
And then you come back with speed dribbles.
Coach Tim Barnett started the Focus basketball team in 2005. 2 years later, his team won their first AAU championship.
And now let's go walk up. All right.
20 state championships later, and the focus off the court is still what drives the team.
That's a great pass. You need to be adjusting all the time.
It's another training day for Racing Louisville FC.
Good, Donnie.
Something Neely Martin, a rookie defender from Birmingham, Alabama, doesn't take for granted.
Best group. Honestly, I'm living out a dream right now.
Yeah, Neos.
6 months ago, I would have never guessed I would be here.
She embodies everything that we want our club to be.
But to appreciate where Neely is, you have to know how she got here.
It's just been an incredible journey.
Neely started playing soccer when she was just 3 years old.
One of my family friends showed up to my house with a pair of cleats and was like, "We need another player for our team."
The invite was for a neighborhood pickup game.
Ever since then, I've played.